This is Orsi, the old guy at OldGuyTalksToMe.com, a podcast dedicated to helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. Join me regularly as I share my interviews with experts on various topics that include anti-aging, sex, relationships, and other things that will help you create that life that you want. Now, I want you to do three things. First of all, I want you to subscribe so you don't miss any of this life-changing information. 2, share it with others. And 3, review. Be sure to do all 3. And now for our podcast. This is Orsi, the official old guy at OldGuyTalksToMe.com, a podcast dedicated to helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. You can't forget about those they love, because if you don't take care of those, then the rest of it doesn't really mean very much. Today we got a special guest in the studio, in the audience, not the audience, on the program. I gotta get the words coming out of my mouth properly. And we have Dr. Travis Fox. He's actor, producer, director, author. He is a Hollywood veteran who has appeared on a variety of programs, including ABC's One Life to Live, Talk Soup. That was a great program. The Nashville Network, Resorts Networks, Golf Channel. He's the creative engine behind Beat the Boogeyman, the first golf show in public broadcasting history, and has also been featured on the Dew Sweepers. And speaking of golf, radio programs on the Sirius XM PGA Tour Network. He's also a smart dude. Dr. Fox holds doctorates in both psychology and clinical hypnotherapy, reaching beyond the common uses of conscious and subconscious models. He's a highly regarded public speaker to date. Dr. Fox has made over 6,000 public appearances and lectured over 1 million people. He also is a renowned psychological sports coach. He's founded Mind Fox Productions to create groundbreaking, impactful entertainment designed to reach worldwide audiences. And he's also perfected a step-by-step program designed for those who are ready to transform their lives and wake up from hypnosis of day-to-day boredom, in a program called Architecting360.com, which I will put the link to that in the notes, in the program notes. So welcome. I feel like I need to take a break after reading that.
I'm exhausted. I'm like, who are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, crap. I was like, who's that guy? I want to meet that guy.
Yeah, I know. Like, are you sure you're talking about me?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you. You've had a wide variety of experiences in your life. So tell us a little bit about how you got here and who are you outside of all these accomplishments?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. Secondly, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience like everyone else on the planet. So we'll backpedal into that in a second. I'm one of those guys that was a third world kid, and my life was kind of planned out for me by my father. By the time I was 5 years old, my father had put a golf club in my hand, and that was my destiny. I was supposed to be a PGA Tour golfer, and that was it. There was no other option for Travis Fox. And so I spent most of my childhood and my middle school and high school years in the golf world. I played other sports, and I was a very good athlete at everything I did, but the passion really kind of came from golf. But the undercurrent was because that's how my father and I could relate. And then when I had my first real kind of emotional tragedy, and I say emotional tragedy from the perspective of heartbreak. I didn't really understand how to emotionally deal with this. I had been trained mentally on how to win, how to keep my head square in the game, and how to play the game of golf. But I really didn't know how to understand myself or life. And I became a young father at the age of 17, rolling 18. I was a first-time father. It was not planned, as many of them aren't. And that's when real life began for me. And then from there, the mother of my child and I didn't stay together. She was an athlete as well, go figure. But I didn't know how to deal with the heartbreak. I had no clue. I went from literally my life's planned out to now I'm a basket case. I literally just went bananas. And so I went to the psychology department and said, hey, can we fix my head before my entire life unravels? And the irony was it ended up opening up a pathway to what my real passion was. And I discovered through that process very quickly through my mentor, who I sat under for 15 years, that I was really playing golf for all the wrong reasons. And many of us have done this, where we have a job or a political ideology, or even a cultural ideology or religious ideology, because that's what we were told to. Not that it's right or wrong. It's just, is that what we really want? And so out of that, I came to realize that I was playing golf for all the wrong reasons. I like golf and I'm still good at it. I just don't love it. And you got to love it to play at that level. And And so I changed my entire career, much to my father's chagrin, which was really helping people live on passion, purpose, and point. And I developed a system called the Architects of Being Online Training Academy that is now a 30-year journey for me. And now I'm on the back nine of my life, if you like the golf analogy. And really it helps people understand what's going on in your head, conscious, subconscious, and shadow subconscious. And ultimately, too, not as what's going on, how does it really work? More importantly, how do I change it? How do I really create change? Because I was one of those guys, I'm a how-to guy. I'm like, they used to say, like the great Jack Nicklaus, and Jack used to say, you just got to let go. Well, how the hell do you do that? I've been trying to figure that out for 20 years, Jack. What are you talking about? And so I developed a system that says, here, this is how you actually do it, that you can now apply to anything. You can apply it to business, you can apply it to sports, you can apply it to your personal life, obviously, and your professional relationships. But we created an entire university where people can come in online, learn the process, and then earn while you learn. Because I'm also one of the believers as a grandfather. I'm a 3-time father and a 1-time grandparent now. And I watched my 2 older children go through college, get these degrees, only to realize that's not what they were interested in. And no pressure from your dad. I said, you follow your heart, whatever that is. I don't care if you want to dig ditches or if you want to, build worlds. I don't care. As long as you're happy with you, because it's your journey. What ended up happening was both of them highly accomplished. My oldest son, who is now, he's ex-special forces. He did 4 tours in the military, went to USC, got a master's degree in public administration, went to Georgetown, got a law degree. And, it's still, and those are powerful things, but it's still really not what he's doing now. And that's not the work that he does full time. But what he came to me and said, his dad was, okay, I've experienced it, but that really didn't fine tune it for me. I said, okay. But I looked at the educational process that he went through, and not unlike myself, and went, wait a minute. How come it costs so much dang money to go get this piece of paper that all of us have to go get in some form or another? And then we find out we really don't want to do it. That's dumb. And then we got to work off the next 10 years to pay off the thing that we didn't want to do. That makes no sense. So the academy is a completely different experience. It allows you to earn and learn at the exact same time. So we can help you develop your brand, your passion, your purpose, grow you an ascension model from zero, literally to being on global stages within 6 to 12 months. And we've been doing it now for 30 years. And that's really my passion. That's kind of how we get to here.
Yeah. Colleges are, and the professions aren't really what they used to be. they're so expensive. I in a previous life, I used to be a periodontal regenerative surgeon, and you got kids now that are spending $500,000-$700,000,
right? And
they are graduating into a very different environment that I graduated into.
Right.
Oh gosh, 34 years ago, 40 years ago. So it's they got all this huge debt, which really is going to limit what they're going to do. Right. And in a lot of ways, the financial, the financial benefits are not there like they used to be.
And the daily operation, right? I mean, just to run a practice nowadays with malpractice insurance and the operations, the overhead, workman's comp, by the time you're all said and done, you're going, you know what, screw this. I'm going to become a podcaster and go do I'm like, well, great, let's do that instead, but let's take all that education and that knowledge and let's apply it in a way that actually helps other people.
A lot of times you end up owning a job. Robert Kiyosaki talks about that. You own a job. Somebody said, well, when I walked out of the office, all production stopped. And so my economic model was piecework. Now I got paid pretty well per piece, but it was piecework. There's no doubt about it. It was piecework. And so as soon as you stop, it all of it stops.
Well, so same thing here, right? Coaches, trainers, educators, motivational speakers. I've been one my whole life too, but we can only eat what we kill. And I sought to change that model and have. Now, 10 years later, I finally changed it so that you can actually royaltize what you're doing, make money at all the different levels, and grow and monetize your brand, but also be educated about how to help people do it for themselves. And I'm not talking about, hey, watch my video and you're great. I'm talking about true online interactive learning capabilities, because I'm an educator teacher by trade. That's my passion. I love teaching, not from a know-it-all position, but hey, I don't know squat, but I know what not to do. How's that grab you? I got that part figured out.
What would you say are, because I know I want to get into your program here in a little bit, but what would you say were big milestones in your life?
Oh, wow. Well, the first one was when I was 19, when I realized.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah. The next one was the birth of my third child, which is my second son. He was born autistic, and it changed my life forever. And Dr. Fox really pretty much died that day in a beautiful way. because I realized that even though I'd become, very successful as Dr. Fox during that time period from, 19 to almost 34, I was still now just transferring. I was still performing. I was still trying to make up for, to my father that, hey, Dad, look, just because I didn't go to the PGA Tour as a player, I've coached on tour. I've been on the Golf Channel. I created this product so that people can actually not mess with their own heads like I did, But deep down inside, I still had not reconciled that my father never really approved of what I was going to do. My father didn't agree with it. He didn't believe in the self-transformational business. He comes from the old school of Michigan. You got to work hard. You got to grind for it. 40 years, weekend retirement, the 401k, all that stuff in that prior generations prior to there too. And I realized that day when my autistic son was born that all my training, all the letters before and after my name sounded really cool on paper. I had no idea how to talk to my son. I was dumbfounded. And I had to unwind everything I thought I was from that model and realize two things. One, communication comes from the heart and it's an emotional driver. And you got to be able to understand how that works, both psychologically, emotionally, and also in your shadow subconscious. But then two, I realized that Travis was enough, that my son as an autistic didn't give a flip whether I was Dr. Fox, what car I drove, what television show I'd been on, the trophies he didn't give a crap about that. He's like, Dad, if you can't sit here and be present with me and watch a video, I'm not interested in talking to you. And I had to learn all over again to go, wait a minute, being Travis is enough. And I think many of us suffer from the ideology of, it's got to look a certain way. We've got to act a certain way. It's got to project a certain way because doggone it, what if people find out we're a bloody mess on the inside? If they find that out, it's all over. Yet we all are. That's the joke. So he was the most profound experience that I had because he opened me up. Because there's no BSing an autistic. They don't live in that world. And many people think that it's an epidemic. And I've been a spokesperson for many, many years out there in the autism world because he's now 17, just graduated high school as we speak, literally about a week ago. And he's following his own passion. He makes beautiful episodes on YouTube for other autistic kids. And he's been doing it for 4 years now. And that's his passion. That's it. That's enough. Doesn't have to be anything more. And so for me, he was profound. I think that. And also, too, ironically, at the exact same time, January 2020, which, let's all agree 2020 is going to be a year that we'll all remember. JFK, Luther King, the Twin Towers, and 2020 are all going to be in that same hierarchy.
Yeah, I thought 2007, 2008 was interesting.
That's just a financial thing. That was easy. That was
easy.
We're destroying the whole damn model, and then now what? And I'm like, okay. But yeah, my father took the great journey and passed in January 2020, right as we released the follow-up to the Secret movie called Beyond the Secret. And it was on the day, the premiere day, which was January this year in Universal Studios at Universal City. We were releasing the film and I got a call from my ex-wife and she said that my father had passed. Now, here's the irony of that whole thing. And this is something I use as a lesson, both for myself and for anybody who's interested, is that my father carried that with him from almost his entire life. In fact, he died from pancreatic cancer and knew he had 30 days left to live. And even though he knew he had 30 days left to live, he just didn't even reach out to say goodbye. He just kind of held that space. And it's been a beautiful lesson for me on one, how to let go. I've learned that up. But two, what are we really interested in? What's the game of life that you want to play? Because we're all going out the same, broken, dead, period. Not taking it with you. But how do you really want to play? And so it's taken the academy to the next level. It's taken my relationship with all, my graduate students and also my own personal family and myself to go, it's really interesting. And I think what's valuable about your show is life doesn't, change because you go 50, 60 or 70. The only thing is you finally realize that crap that you thought was important at 26 probably isn't as important as you think it is. And the final lesson my father gave me was, if you had 30 days left to live, which you did, what would you be doing? How would you spend it? And then really look at your life from that point of view to the current space you're in and live the rest of your life as if you only had 30 days left to live, because you may only. And COVID's really kind of brought that to a forefront as well. Sure.
Why is it important for people to architect their life?
Oh, simple. Well, let's see. When you go to build a house, you have a blueprint. When you build a company, you have a blueprint. You have a car, you have a blueprint. How come you don't have an architect for your own being? I mean, let's take it to the spiritual for a minute, if you don't mind me going a little ethereal.
No.
You come from some place. You call that whatever you want. And when you die, you're going to go back to that place. Again, whatever you want to call that. I'm not here to tell you what to call it. But what you do in between is this opportunity to architect the life of experiential experiences, whatever they are, business, personal relationships, travel, accomplishments, whatever is interesting to you. But a lot of times we go out there and we do education. We supposedly are educated, but we come out dumb as a brick. We're supposed to be entrepreneurs, but we really don't know how to connect with people because we don't know how to connect with ourselves. So how come we don't have a blueprint on how to make money, on how to blueprint to architect your own life, how to architect a lifestyle, how to architect a brand, a passion, point on purpose? And so it's architecting is because if you have a plan and you understand the mechanisms of that plan, you can pivot, you can move, and you can change the design of your architecture, but the fundamentals and the structural architectural plan stays the same. So you know exactly what to do. I find that a lot of entrepreneurs that, when I coach privately will come in and say, I want to do this, Travis. And I'm like, great. Tell me what the first 3 steps are. Well, that's what you're for. No, that's not what I'm for. I'm here to give you the architectural plan. You're the builder. But they come in and we get taught, and you and I come from a very similar background, which is, hey, we come from this school of education that tells you this is what you're supposed to do in order to be blank, right? A doctor, lawyer, whatever it is. But as soon as you leave school, it all goes out the door. You're like, crap, now what? How do I form a business? How do I do an interview process? So what is the structure? What happens if something happens to me? We have to learn this along the way. And what the part that we don't teach is you're the single longest relationship you're ever going to have while you're here on planet Earth. And yet the irony is we spend most of our life not being really in touch with ourselves, trying to project to be something else that we're not. I know I did it in most of my 20s and half of my 30s, both as a golfer and as Dr. Fox, quote unquote, until I finally realized, it's okay to be me, but there wasn't a plan to really do that. I don't want to spend, 29 years in therapy. No one's interested in that. I don't think I need to go, find myself, because that means I left myself at a bus stop or somewhere. I need to go pick me up. And like, when do you find myself? I'm with me 24 hours a day. Makes no sense. And we flippantly let these things get into our head. And when they get into our head to the subconscious level, just like anything else, they become real. And it's because the belief system drives it.
Yeah. I think the conversations that we have in our head are very important, and we need to. Everyone needs to be, especially now. You need to be careful about the conversations you're having in your head.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that I've always believed in is to ask the question you want answered, and by that I mean, why is this not going well? Versus how do I make it go well? And your mind, either way, your mind is going to give you an answer, but one's going to move you forward. The other one's going to have you looking back and focusing on stuff that probably is not important.
True. And also too, how do you define well? What does well mean to you? Is it a feeling? Is it a moniker of success that you can tangibly look at outside of you? What does well mean? Again, we wander around so much on autopilot. I mean, I always tell people, I say, guys, you know who the best hypnotist in the room is? They're like, you. I'm like, nope, you. You're the best hypnotist in the world. You convince yourself of BS every single day that deep down inside in places you don't want to talk about at cocktail parties is not in alignment for you, is not true. But we do it because we're supposed to, because it looks good. And well, doggone it, if they find out if I'm not an alpha male and I'm vulnerable and I'm all this, well, that's going to ruin my cocktail party and my image and my chances, at whatever you're doing on some social media thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I talk to a lot of guys when we do our men's retreats. I go, guys, let's start with the whole alpha male thing. Let's drop that crap, because every one of us, as soon as we fell in love with a girl, that alpha male thing went right out the door. So let's get back to what the truth is. The truth is we are all these beautiful creatures that are all master creators. It's just, where are you choosing to create from? Your head, which is what you think it's supposed to look like, or your guts and your heart and your architect? When you understand that model, it changes how you actually approach life, and you understand that, hey, we ain't getting out of this planet alive. So, hey, let's go do those things, because what happens if we only have 30 days left to live? Can you fit in everything that you wanted to experience and haven't done yet in 30 days? If you can't, start now, because it goes by, as we'll both agree, like that fast. I mean, bang, here it is. So that's what we started with. And then we teach you a system on how to actually do it. That's real. That's not, hey, you think it'll show up, it'll fall out of the damn sky, but actual, real, clinical, applicational, experiential system. And then you apply it, and that makes you wealthy. And then the riches of your wealth is, whether it's money or it's relationships or experiences, or it's just flat out connecting with yourself in the most authentic way, that makes your wealth turn into the riches of what you want outside.
Mm-hmm. Are you a man suffering with erectile dysfunction, or know of a man suffering with erectile dysfunction? Well, the answer that you are looking for is at myjunkdoesnotwork.com. You heard that right, myjunkdoesnotwork.com. What you'll find there are interviews on cutting-edge medical therapies to treat erectile dysfunction with experts in the field. That's right, experts. One of them is actually even a therapy that you can do in the privacy and comfort of your own home at a fraction of the cost of what it costs in a medical office. So what are you waiting for? You want to regain your confidence as a man? You want to regain your ability to pleasure your partner and yourself, both physically and emotionally. Don't wait, don't hesitate, don't procrastinate. Do it now. Go to myjunkdoesnotwork.com. You'll be glad you did.
In terms of spiritual,
Yeah.
why is, for you, why is meditation important?
Meditation is important for two reasons. One, it teaches you that you are not your thoughts. And two, it teaches you how to listen. Not listen to the thoughts, but listen to the feeling, because the feeling is going to direct you. And three, if you are not in literally teaching and training your mind, which is what it actually is, it's a tool. If you're not teaching and training it from your heart up, then you are subject to the whims of a man-made mind, your own. And that man-made mind comes from what we call the four pillars, which is mother, father, religion, and state. Those are the big four influences we have during our imprint stage when we're younger. They really get deep into the garden of our subconscious, and those come up as weeds or seeds or flowers as we start to mature in life and we go through the journey. And if we don't know how to undo it, then we are truly subject to the whims of that. Meditation, stillness, through the process that we show it to you, teaches you that you don't have to sit on the side of a mountain and wear an orange robe and shave your head and that to be spiritual. You already are spiritual. It's how you do that journey to go forward. So meditation is a good start for that. And then you have to learn how to separate yourself from your thoughts. More importantly, how to unwind those thoughts to find the belief that's driving it. And most importantly, where's the emotional trauma that we're still hiding from down in the darkness of ourselves?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because meditation is something that I think often is overlooked, especially in older guys, because it's kind of foo-fooey. It's foo-fooey, as some people might say. And where's the incense and the what was the beads on the beads on the doorway and
charmer, and don't forget the smoke and the
was it Ravi Shankar music too? Yeah. We got the picture now.
Yeah, exactly. A little gypsy in you, a little 60s love. I'm like, that seems a little bit like a cult. And I'm like, oh, well, it's been around for 7,000 years, so I guess it's a cult of humanity.
Yeah, it sure is.
Right.
And along with that, you like to do yoga, right?
I'm a practitioner, but actually one of my graduate students who also sits on the Architect Council, Rob Handwriter, who's the next CEO, I call him the modern day Ram Dass. He was a CEO of a $40 million oil and gas company, and then woke up one day and realized he was just not in alignment with himself and was literally working himself to death, walked away from the job, became a full yogi and a master yogi teacher, and then became an architect and a master graduate architect, and now is a council member. And he really does the architect inside the academy than I do. I practice it, but strangely, even though he was my graduate student now and is a teacher on his own, he's my teacher when it comes to yoga. So I'd love to tell you that I'm the yoga teacher. That's not accurate, but I do yoga. And my student is now my teacher.
Well, that's always nice when that happens. Yeah. I have to say though, I like for my exercise, I like to do some aerobic stuff, and I like powerlifting, and I got hurt in yoga. Yoga is a 4-letter word as far as I'm concerned. but it's just a matter of how stiff I've gotten over the years. But I think it's important. I think it's important to stretch out. Actually, the older you get, the more important it is to start worrying about flexibility and stretching and things like that.
Which is a reflection of how our mind tends to do the exact same. Our neuroplasticity will reflect our flexibility. So if we've lost our flexibility in our body, there's a high degree of probability, we become grumpy old men and we're a little bit stuck in our ways, as opposed to timeout. You're still a 6-year-old kid. Maybe we could just approach it from that point of view. Because guess what? If you're laying on your deathbed, trust me, you're going to be thinking about all the stuff you would have rather have been doing than sitting there thinking about what what's right or wrong. Maybe that shows some of our neuro inflexibility and our neuroplasticity. So I would invite, if our body gets tight, it's a good reflection. Our mind's probably doing the same thing.
Yeah. What do you see as the biggest challenges for people living their lives now?
Well,
outside of everything that's going on in the news.
Start with not being able to leave your house or travel. Start with that. But no, I think the number one challenge is we are desperately afraid, and yet at the same time addicted to finding out who we really are, and scared to death that someone else might find out who we are. And yet we spend most of our lives in the shadows, projecting what people think. And I think the number one thing is to really just face ourselves. I call it the beautiful darkness, because it's the darkness of ourselves. It's where our anger and our guilt, our frustration, our resentment, our shame, all the things that we hide are really the ones that are emotionally driving us at the undercurrent level. And I think the hardest thing is to stop and go, you know what? I'm going to change my life. I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to continue to put on the act. I'm not going to continue to do the same things that I'm doing right now because I'm supposed to, or because I'm good at it, because it doesn't feel good anymore. Because again, if you had 30 days left to live, would you be doing anything you're doing right now? And if your answer is no, then you owe it to yourself to stop and change your life. And that, for people right there, sometimes is the biggest bottleneck I found in all of my journey so far, is just to go, well, I want to do something but as soon as they say the but, whatever they said in front of it, I just don't pay attention to. I'm like, that was all BS, and you're the one convincing yourself. It doesn't bother me any. Who am I to judge you? But I think that the real challenge is just being authentic and being able to change our lives, because somewhere along the line, someone sold us a bill of goods that if you change your life, you're a failure. It's a do-over. It's a start over. Yeah, why not? That's the most exciting part, is when you get to start and do crap over again and do it in a different way. It's like playing around the golf. You may play the same course every single day, but you are going to experience a course differently every single day. And even though the course is the same, the experience is different. And we really get stuck in this thing of, well, you know what? I'm going to start all over again. I'm like, why aren't you excited about that? Go start all over again. That's what makes you young, old guys. Knock it off. That's what you enjoyed. When we were 26, we didn't give a crap. We'd go stay out all night and stay drunk and get up and work the next day. We didn't care. And all of a sudden, well, now I got to be responsible. And oh, shut up. Go enjoy yourself, man, because when you're dead, it's over. Let's go. Live. And you of all people know better than I do what we can do in today's world of new age and health and how we can extend our lives. Man, 70 is the new 40. What are you talking about? Let's go, man. Let's go experience it, because now you have the knowledge and the wisdom and the experience of what you don't want to really clearly architect what you want, and let's go. And I think that's where the number one challenge is. They review a start over as a failure.
Yeah. I think a lot of times people also think that, like, they have this conversation in their head that I'm too old for that. It's too late. Right. And I would hear it. And it was funny to me, because I would hear it from people that were in their 40s, and I'm looking at them and I'm saying, shut up,
right?
Shut up.
Too old for that, right?
Shut up. I've never thought of things that way, and it's an attitude. But at 40, like.
Well, and here's the funny thing. I don't recall at 16 when a girl wanted to kiss. I'm too young for that. What is that crap? So wait, we're such hypocrites. I'm too old for that. Oh, come on. You're too scared for that. Why don't we own that truth? You're too scared to go out there and look stupid. Too scared to look like a goofball. Hey, newsflash. Hi, my name is Travis Fox. I'm full of shit. I'm a dork. I'm a big goofball geek. And guess what? So what? So are you. The difference is, what if you just own it for 10 seconds? Because you never said you were too young. What makes you too old?
Yeah, I think if you're honest about that kind of stuff, then all the background that's going to keep you down, it goes away. Yeah. And as soon as you say stuff, it's liberating. It's incredibly liberating if you tell people things in the room. Yeah. And I know that, like, on some
go, me too.
Yeah. Well, I have a series on ED, and people will go like, "Oh, not me. I'm good in that department." And then, like, you're at a party, and about 5 minutes later, they're coming. Well, what about this? And what? Like, but the room does go quiet when that subject does come up.
Yeah, you know why? Because all of a sudden it means you're not a man anymore. Like, no, it doesn't. Is that any less than a woman who has, a hysterectomy? Is she not a woman? Or she has a mastectomy? Is she not? Say it ain't so, homie. Yeah. It's, hey, look, man. Sometimes, a car needs an oil change. It needs some of the struts replaced. Sometimes you got to get some things worked out. Good news is, it means if you've done it well, you probably use the hell out of it and probably needs an oil change. Why not, brothers?
Yeah. Well, like there's so many different things to again with modern science. There's so many different things that are available to treat stuff like that, and all sorts of other things that are. It's actually it's mind-boggling that people accept the whole concept of being old. And it's not doesn't mean that you're not going to get old. I mean, aging is a natural is a process that occurs, but being old mentally is really that is the worst, because that can happen at any age.
Yeah, I would offer everybody needs to go watch the movie Life of Benjamin Button and live.
Okay, yep.
I'm the reverse. I was old when I was young because of my parents' divorce, and I had to grow up and I had all this emotional things I had to learn very quickly at a young age, which great. As a professional, that's been wonderful. As a personal life, it sucked because I was responsible all the way up to my 35s. And I was like, I might be the oldest young person I know with this responsibility and the companies and the things you're doing. And I'm like, how about we just enjoy the hell out of it? I mean, so I'm living my life completely backwards. On the back nine, I tell people, look, I just started to tee off on the back nine. And here's the deal. I'm swinging for every flag. I'm swinging all out on every shot. I don't care if I make a birdie or a bogey. All I know is these last holes are the last 9 holes. I am going to swing for the damn fences. Should have done that in the front 9. Not that I played a bad front 9. I played a pretty good, maybe 1 under even par. But on the back 9, I'm going for broke. Because guess what? When the round's over, who gives a flip? It's the same ending for all of us. Broke and dead. That's the 19th hole. Let's enjoy the hell out of it.
Okay. So I want to talk about something else that you have in your program.
Yes, sir.
The Blueprint for Healing.
Yep.
What's that all about?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a 15-year journey for me personally. It's something I've been working on for a long time. It's actually the title of my next book, which as the moment's supposed to come out later this year, according to the publisher. And then I made a course out of it because I found that a lot of people think that healing is based on the age-old adage of, time heals all wounds. That's not true. Time does not heal anything. Time just means you got used to it and you learned how to deal with it. At least either manage it or cope with it or ignore it. Either way, it's still there. And it shows up. Example, a lot of people say, well, I don't want to get into another relationship because I don't want to get hurt again, which means you're already entering the relationship in a hurt emotional state. You're experiencing hurt, and then you're projecting into that relationship. And then, of course, you manifest it in real time through the belief system.
Actually, you're going to get what you asked for.
Exactly. You're the architect. You're going to create it. Duh. You don't want to get hurt. Well, you're already set. You already are hurting, which means we haven't healed the real wound, which means we haven't looked through the real sequence that we went through. So the blueprint is, how do we actually heal? What does it mean to heal? And when you finally get to the end, there's a beautiful twist at the end that shows you what healing really is. And it's a journey that I went through personally. I had to heal things with my father. I had to heal things with my kids. I had to heal things with myself of who is Travis Fox, for the last 50 years, and come to a place where you're really at peace with yourself. Not because you forced yourself to be in peace or you put on the act or you just grinned and bear it. I mean, that's one way to do it. But what if you had a way to truly heal? And I find that the number one thing that keeps people from really moving into change is they haven't healed from whatever it was, business, relationship, their own personal, parental, children, whatever the sequence is we haven't really healed. And then when you understand what a healing sequence is, now you're free. And I love that you use the word freedom, because that's really what it's about, is freeing ourselves from the prisons that we've created for ourselves. The gilded prisons are the worst because we're the ones that designed them. We're the architects of our own insanity. We're the architects of our own prisons. And yet we don't have a way to architect our own freedom. It just seemed backwards to me. So I've spent the last years putting it together, and then I finally released it, and the publisher said, that's the next book we're going with. And I said, okay, let's do it. So the blueprint is, how do we actually heal ourselves?
Okay, that's something that a lot of people need. So Travis, how do you have? Could you go into a little detail about? And I know people can go on your website and find that out, but can you just kind of go through some of the programs that you have where you help people to basically design their lives or architect your life?
Yeah, sure. The first thing we do is invite everybody to our jump training, and the reason it's called jump training is because you have to jump into anything. You have to jump into your relationship, jump in the car, jump in the shower, jump into a conversation, jump on a podcast. So how come we don't jump into us? So jump training is a 21-day experience, but it's interactive learning. So unlike anything else in the past where it's just watch a video or read a book, which is a very linear experience, which is why now it's called 360, is it's interactive. It stops, it talks to you and says, hey, check this out. Let's look at this. It gives you multiple choice. We track your data and track your progress so that we can really help you design your life. And then from there, you're going to get invited to the architects in training. You are the architect of your life. The trick is, Do you know how to architect yourself into from your wealth state to the riches of whatever that is, in money, relationship, whatever you want? So you go to that process. And ultimately, you go to architect mastery. When you come out of mastery, you truly understand how to architect a life, and most importantly, help other people do it. Not from when we have the answers, because we don't. I want to be really crystal clear. Any guru out there tells you the answer is full of shit. I know. I've been around my whole life. I thought I was one at one time. I don't know anything. I know that I don't know. That's about it. But I developed a system over 30 years that will help you architect your life as a blueprint. And then from there, you can go to Keys to Fear, which is the 21 fears that all human beings deal with, and how to unwind a fear process so you can become free of fear. Blueprint to Healing, we've already talked about. And then we have a bunch of other programs inside the academy. And it's really like, it's an academy of you. How do I architect my life and apply it to business, or apply it to family, or apply it to my brand or my podcast, or to becoming an author, whatever it is, because there's a uniqueness within you that we believe that you came here to experience, so that we could all learn with you and learn from your journey. Because again, you're unique, I'm unique. We're connected to the same thing. You can call that whatever you want. We call that great architect for simplicity, but we're connected. But somewhere along the line, that part of you, that journey you've taken, the journey I've taken, the journey your listeners have taken, makes us somewhat individualistically unique in our connectivity of each other. And we're looking for that. And so I always invite people, like, why leave it here? You got to leave it all on the stage. Again, you're not taking it with you. And so Architect walks you through that. And then we also teach you a business model entrepreneurially, how to build the brand for real. Earn what you learn. My entire endeavor is to change the educational system so that these skills, starting with the jump, which are going through some of the schools right now, are taught at the middle school and high school level. If we could help our younger generation really be in touch with who they are and get out of their head and understand where these things come from, we're going to really change the world. We're not going to change it when we're 70 and we're unwinding the things that we've already done. We need to get ahead of the curve and really start teaching that. So that's our endeavor. We're going to train 1 million architects in the next 5 years around the globe. And then we also help them entrepreneurially doing that, an ascension model. Teach you how to go from 0 to global stages in literally 6 to 12 months for real, monetizing it for real with a bona fide body of work, but you're on passion, purpose, and point. And that's what the Architects Academy does. Sounds
like a worthwhile mission to occupy your life.
Thank you, sir.
I know you kind of talked about the program where you're bringing on a lot of young people, but what does the future hold for you? What do you see on the horizon for you?
I have no idea. I gave up predicting my future. I learned that I spent most of my life when I was 25 to 35 under the ideology of what if. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if I did this? How amazing would I be? And, some of them happened, some of them didn't. And I also don't like playing the what was game, right? And that's what my mind and your mind and all of our listeners' minds are really designed to do. So for me, the future, if Great Spirit allows it, is my goal is to help train 1 million architects. And then I will turn the company over to my architect council, who are all graduated trainers on their own and wonderful brands, all way past Travis Fox. And then from there, is really help change the educational system globally. I'm fed up with getting people into slavery, teaching these kids that it's just pass fail, that if they're not, getting 4.3 grade point averages by the time they're 6 years old, that they're total failures. I think that is the most absurd thing on the planet. And yet they have no idea how to deal with themselves. So those are the two things I'm going to spend. And then God willing is to watch all the architects and my family grow into the beautiful beings that they are. And then when my time's over, you and I can go hang out. We'll play a round of golf. We'll talk about ED.
Travis, you do not want to play golf with me. Now I will shoot like in the 80s, but then we get to the back nine and I'll be probably about another 80.
You know what the great news is? It'll be a good 4 hours. We'll have a boatload of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. And I have to bring a box of balls, not a sleeve, but a box of balls.
Bring a box of balls and a case of whiskey, whatever works.
Yeah. And then no house is safe. That's the other thing. No house is safe.
Perfect. I like that too. You know what? Actually, aim for the house and then you'll miss it.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe I'll try that next time. It's been a while. Yeah. So, well, Travis, this has been very, very eye-opening and enlightening, and it's been a pleasure to visit with you and talk. And if anybody wants to work with you, they can go to, there's going to be a link in the program notes, but it's right there also on the screen here. Well, if you're watching this, but it's going to be a podcast, so it'll be in the program notes. Architecting360.com, and you can find out more about Travis and his company and what he does. And he's got a very unique approach to how to, well, I'm going to say the guy kind of fits in where we are. How to create a kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love. It fits in very, very nicely. So Travis, thank you. And this is Orsi, old guy at OldGuyTalksToMe.com, saying, remember, create that kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love.
Now, I want to make sure that you do 3 things. 1, subscribe so you don't miss any of these episodes. 2, share it with your friends because they need to hear this information also. To get this stuff so they can have a kick-ass life. And 3, review this podcast. And if you've got a bad review, that's fine too. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe, share, and review. Until next time, remember, it's all about creating a kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love.